Chapter 1. "Is there anything else I can get for you, gentlemen?" the maid said. "No, that'll be all, Tasha." The maid put the tray of drinks on the table and then walked away, getting the lusty stares of the 4 men at the table. She went back into the kitchen and waited for her signal. She'd been stationed there for a month, waiting for this moment. Her partner was outside watching on a video feed through a camera they'd previously planted. A minuscule dot perfectly placed on the edge of a plant that gave a view of the entire room. "How long have you been keeping that, Alexei?" one joked. "Olga's niece? She's been here a month or so. Olga brought her in to cover for her while she went home to take care of her mother." "Well, when Olga comes back, send this one over to me," another one cracked. "I will make plenty of room for her. And plenty of things for her to clean up, too, huh?" Another one laughed. Yes. Let's get down to business," Alexei stated. "We can talk business anytime. What I really want to know is, have you slept with her yet?" Sergei laughed. "Not yet. Losing your touch, Alexei?" "Perhaps. Now let's see what you have for me." "Parker, they're about to make the exchange," she heard in her earpiece. "I'm on it," she replied. She grabbed a gun she'd hidden in the kitchen and strapped it to the outside of her thigh. Her outfit didn't leave a lot to the imagination, as her skirt was about as high as it could be without her ass hanging out. She peeked out of the kitchen door as she waited for the exchange. "You have the money, I assume," Sergei said. "Of course," Alexei answered, motioning for an associate to bring it forward. His assistant brought a bag over to the table and opened it up, revealing the $100,000 price tag that was requested. Sergei pulled out the envelope from his coat and slid it on the table to Alexei. "So what's so important on that disc that's worth so much money?" Sergei said, reaching for the bag. "Don't worry about it," Alexei replied. "Well, I hope it's worth it." "It is. You just have to know the right people. What cost me $100,000 will bring me back 5 times that." "Now, Parker, go." "Okay," she replied. Parker came out of the kitchen with a tray full of drinks and walked toward the table. "Ah, now there's my favorite part of this deal," Sergei said. "Mind throwing her in as part of it?" He laughed. Parker set the tray down on the table and leaned over so the men could get a glimpse of her breasts. They were mesmerized by her beauty, which was all that she needed to get the drop on them. She glanced at all 4 of them to make sure they were not a threat. She quickly jumped up and pulled the gun from her leg, putting a bullet in the chest of each man at the table before they even knew what was happening. Each were instantly killed, falling off their chairs. The assistant, who was standing in the corner, was able to draw his gun, but wasn't able to get off a shot before a bullet ripped through his midsection. Parker grabbed the envelope and put it in the bag with the money, throwing it over her shoulder as she ran towards the back door. As she scurried there, she heard gunfire. When she finally came across the back door, she peeked out and saw the 2 guards laying in a pool of their own blood, Davis waiting in the van with the door open. She ran as fast as she could before the rest of the guards came running over. Parker jumped in the van just as a hail of gunfire erupted, the van's tires smoking from peeling out of there so quickly. "You got it?" Davis said. "Of course I got it," Parker answered. He smiled. "Sexy and dangerous. A lethal combination." Parker just looked at him, not really paying much attention, as she put on pants and a long-sleeve shirt. "You know, this could be our chance," Davis said. "Chance for what?" "To run. You and me." "Heath, we've talked about this before," Parker said. We got a bag full of money here to start with. First off, 100,000 is not a lot of money in order to create a new life. Establishing new identities and covers is expensive. Okay, so we'll need a little more. It's a start. No more missions. No more spying. No more lying. No more any of it. We can leave this life behind and never look back. Just the two of us, he pleaded. My answer is still the same as the last time you asked. I'm not ready to leave this life behind. I don't want to live the rest of my life on the run, looking over my shoulder, wondering if someone's coming for me. Besides, we're not even together anymore. We could always try again, Davis said. I think it's best if we keep that part of our relationship in our past. Davis was a little disappointed, but wasn't surprised by Parker's decision. He didn't expect her to join him, but still held out some hope that she might change her mind. They drove back to their hotel and alerted their handler that the mission was a success and they had the disc. The money was not nearly as important to her as what was on the disc, and was actually more of an afterthought. Parker saw the opportunity to grab it, though, and didn't want to leave it in the hands of Alexi's men. They were directed to get on the next plane available and bring the disc back to Washington. As the duo was waiting in the airport for their flight to board, Parker started reflecting on her life. A mother walking by with her 2 young children got Parker's attention. She watched the mother interact with them as they eventually sat a few feet away from her. Parker smiled as she continued watching, wondering if she'd ever be in that position. She'd never really thought about settling down before. Her job kept her on the move almost constantly, never really allowing time for thought about anything other than whatever mission she was on and staying alive. But it was moments like this, just sitting there and watching others, that sometimes she wondered what she was missing. Davis came out of the bathroom and sat next to her, wondering about their next mission. Where do you think they'll send us next? He said. No idea. Maybe they'll let us take a week or 2 off first. When was the last time we had a week or 2 off? Parker dejectedly said. Something wrong with you? Davis said, picking up on her negative vibes. No, not really. Just... never mind. Thinking of another life, maybe. What? No, of course not. Just tired, I guess. The plane started boarding, and the 2 of them dropped the conversation, Parker not really wanting to talk about it. She stopped briefly and took one last look at the mother with her children, a slight smile creeping over her face before she turned back to her reality and boarded the plane. Langley, Virginia. Parker and Davis were inside the CIA building to meet their handler and hand over the disc and money. You know what? You go ahead. I have something I have to take care of, Davis told her. We should do this together, she replied. Just cover for me. Fine, Parker sighed, not really wanting to. A few minutes later, Parker met their handler, Lisa Burnett. Where's Davis? Burnett wondered. He had to meet with somebody about something. It was a last-minute thing, Parker replied. Oh, so you got everything? Yep, right here, she answered, handing over the backpack with the disc and money. Great job, as usual. Thank you. What's on this disc that was worth so much money? Preliminary plans for several high-tech secret weapons that are currently being worked on by Iran. So, what was it doing in the hands of Russians? Parker wondered. Sergei Khrushchev had contacts in the Iran parliament who sold him the plans. Khrushchev then made it known that he had the plans in his possession and was selling them to the highest bidder. Alexei Barsukov was buying the plans with the intention of selling them, most likely to the Russian government, that would then develop the weapons themselves, Burnett explained. Or at least benefit financially in helping Iran develop them. Sell them parts needed, maybe. Perhaps. What's our next assignment? Parker said. Give us a day or two to examine exactly what's on the disk. If there's anything else on it, we may have you run down any other leads. We'll see, though. In the meantime, just hang loose for a day or so. Parker started to leave, but turned back around to ask Burnett a question. Any word yet on my request? Parker wondered. Not yet. These things take time, Alex. Burnett replied, sensing Parker's disappointment. I know. Asking for a couple months off in this line of work requires a lot of signatures. Just be patient. It's just, I haven't had more than a week off in 10 years. I feel like I could use some time to get some energy back. I know. I'm doing what I can for you. Parker was going to say a few other things, but thought better of it. She was used to keeping her thoughts and feelings bottled up. In her profession, the less people knew about her personally, the better off she was. Burnett could tell there was something else on her mind, though. As a handler, part of her job was to be a sounding board for her agents to bounce things off of. There's something else, isn't there? Burnett said. It's just, lately I've been starting to wonder what it'd be like to live a normal life, with a normal job, without the explosions, killings, knife fights, gun battles, missions, constant danger, and a new country every week, she revealed. You mean to a desk job? Not really. Just out of the game totally, Parker said. You're thinking about leaving? Not right now, but maybe someday, Parker said, trying not to make it sound like it was imminent. Put those thoughts out of your head, Burnett replied, moving closer to her and whispering. Be careful what you say, and to whom. I haven't said anything to anybody. Good. Now get rid of those ideas and concentrate on your job. Why is it so bad to think about a life after here? She said, wondering why her handler was getting so upset. Do you realize how valuable you are? Let me tell you something. When a new high-priority mission comes up, one of the first things asked is what's Parker doing? You have one of the top 5 success rates on missions and confirmed kills of all the operatives we have in the field. Nobody does it better than you. Parker listened to her handler's words and let them sink in. She looked down at the ground and clenched her lips together. She knew what Burnett was telling her. They're never going to let me go, are they? Parker said. No, Burnett bluntly replied. At least not yet. I see and hear other people moving on and having careers outside of this place. Why can't I? Those other people aren't you. Those other people are dinosaurs who are no longer relevant or have nothing else to give. You're in the prime of your career. They think you still have a lot of years to give them. As long as they see that, you're not going anywhere. What if I just quit? I wouldn't recommend it, Burnett said sternly. I'll see what I can do about getting you some extra time off. In the meantime, just try to take it easy. I appreciate it, Parker replied, knowing she wasn't likely to get any time off soon. Parker tried calling Davis as she exited CIA headquarters, but it went to his voicemail. She left a message for him to call her back so she could let him know they were waiting for another day. She wondered what he was up to, as it was a little unusual for him to ditch her like that. She went back to her hotel room and tried to relax for a bit. She put on the TV, planning on just watching a movie, but as soon as she lay down, she drifted off to sleep. Parker woke up the following morning around 8, getting a much-needed 15 hours of sleep. She wiped the sleep from her eyes and poured herself some orange juice. As she was making one of her favorite breakfasts, a bagel with cream cheese, her laptop started buzzing, indicating a video conference was waiting. Parker put the laptop on the kitchen counter as she finished making her bagel. Burnett appeared on the screen. "Alex, we have your new mission," she said. Great. So where am I going?" Parker said, trying to sound upbeat about it. "Well, Director Nelson will tell you about it." "Director Nelson?" Nelson then came on, a split screen showing Burnett on the left and Nelson on the right. "Unfortunately, we've got a rogue ghost." "That's terrible," Parker replied. "I've been looking at your file. I'm just wondering what I should call you," the director said. "Sir?" "Cassandra Benson, Evelyn Altamiri, Ava Nixon, Ingrid Renberg, Sarah Zorn, Holly Backman, Emily Lee, Tasha..." He kept going. Excuse me, sir. I don't mean to interrupt, but what is the point of all this?" she said tactfully. "Just trying to figure out which is the real you. 28 years old, been with the agency 10 years, 17 different aliases." "Well, they're all the real me," she smiled, not sure what he was getting at. "And actually, it's only 16. One is my real name." "Which one is that?" "To be honest, it's been so long since I used it that I almost forget," she joked. "So which one are you today?" "Well, I'm kind of partial to the name I'm using right now, Alex Parker." "You have an impressive file, Ms. Parker," Nelson said. Thank you." "You are highly recommended by everyone who's ever done business with you." "Thank you again, I guess," she said, forcing a smile. "Well, Miss Parker, we're sending you to California for your next mission." "I'm staying in the States?" "Is that a problem?" "No, no problem. It's just, with all the other missions I've been on, I've been out of the country for a few years," she explained. "Just a little weird to finally stay home. So what's the mission? Am I going with Heath?" "You might want to sit down," he warned. Alex looked at the screen funny and knew right away with that warning that something big was going on. The smile slowly faded from her face as she sat and waited for the director to explain the details. "You're going to Los Angeles to find Heath Davis. Pasadena, to be precise." "Heath? I don't understand," she said with a shake of her head. "Why would I need to find Heath? Heath is here. I just saw him yesterday." "He was here. He immediately flew out to California on a private jet, minutes after you handed over the Iran disk." "I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not really processing this well. Why would Heath get on a private jet to California?" "Because your partner's gone rogue," the director revealed. "What? No, that's impossible. We just got back from Russia and turned over the Iran documents. I know. Unfortunately, we also have this video," he said. A video of Davis sneaking into an office and going onto a computer played on the screen next to the general. Davis was clearly copying material onto his own disks and putting them in his pocket. Parker was watching intently, not believing what she was seeing. "When was that video taken?" Parker said. "While you were talking to Burnett, Davis was doing business for himself. He thought he disabled the video system in the office, but didn't realize that a backup camera immediately went online once the initial system malfunctioned. There must be another explanation. Maybe he's on another mission none of us are privy to, she started. The only mission he's on is his own. I've checked with everybody who's authorized to be viewing that material and use that room, and he's not sanctioned to be copying files for his own use. Do we know what he took? Our technicians are going over the computer. Right now, it appears he downloaded approximately 20,000 different case files. We're still determining the exact amount, and which ones. 20,000? She whispered, shocked at the number. This is a major security breach. Not only are thousands of files in jeopardy of falling into the wrong hands, he also downloaded the identities of thousands of agents, including their code names, aliases, contacts, etc. So what do you think he's up to? We have no idea. He's either working for somebody, or he's working for himself, and intends to sell the information to the highest bidder. That's not Heath. That's not the Heath you know. But the video doesn't lie. Does it? The director said. No. Your mission is twofold. 1, find Davis. 2, he contacted someone named Ryan Turner. The NSA tracked an email he sent to Turner, who just so happens to live in Pasadena. What did the email say? It was very vague. I'll send it to you as part of your package on the mission. So, who is this Turner? I'm emailing you what we have on him. But he appears to be a nobody. Why Davis would contact him, we don't know. But find Turner and see what Davis has told him. They may be working together somehow. Okay. One more thing. You're getting a new partner for this assignment. Who is it? His name is Jim Cole. I've heard of him. He's cold, ruthless, relentless, dangerous, and he will do what's necessary in the event you are unable to bring Davis back in. Why would I be unable to bring him back? Parker said. I'm not a fool, Ms. Parker. I'm well aware of your romantic history with Davis. Nelson said. Director, Parker started, stumbling over what to say. Please, I'm not interested in the details. Despite your history, you're being sent because you know him better than anyone. I understand, and please be assured that any attachments we may have had are clearly in the past, and in no way will affect my job. Very well. Just the same, Cole will do what's necessary if you fail. Which is, he will kill him. Cole has already been briefed and is en route to Los Angeles as we speak. He will meet you at the Bob Hope Airport in Burbank. Good luck. Parker sat back and stared at the wall, still reeling from hearing Davis had gone rogue. They'd been so close that she had a tough time believing it. She still felt there was another reason for what he'd done. Maybe he was on an assignment so deep that it required him to appear to turn on them. She was going to cling to that hope. Regardless, she wasn't about to let the kill-happy Cole get to him first. Burbank, California. Cole was already waiting for Parker when she got off the plane, and immediately recognized her from the file photo he was given of her. Cole greeted her with a handshake. He wasn't much for warm and pleasant greetings, though. Agent Parker, pleasure to meet you. Heard a lot about you. Likewise. Cole was 35 years old, and a 12-year veteran of the agency. He was a big guy, standing 6'2" and well-built. He was highly thought of as he always finished a mission to completion, regardless of his own personal safety. Nothing was more important to him than completing his assignment. He'd been shot on 3 previous occasions, twice in the left shoulder and once in the leg. He loved his job and couldn't imagine doing anything else. His love for violence made him ideally suited for the kind of work he did. Personal feelings never clouded his judgment or got in the way of his duties. His motto was job first, everything else second. Strangely enough, the reputation Cole had was basically the same one Parker had. Though she had model-type looks, with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a knockout figure, she packed quite a punch on her 5'6" frame. She had quickly become one of the agency's go-to agents on the tougher assignments due to her dedication and willingness to do whatever it took to get the job done. She was well-versed in mixed martial arts and was equally dangerous with a gun or a knife. "Where do they have us staying?" Parker said. "They got us condo-style apartments on Bellevue." "Why there?" "Oh, Turner's gonna be in the middle of us. We have an apartment on each side of him." Wonder how they made that happen so fast. "I believe the tenants were told of the bug problem and were given a generous sum to move," Cole said. "There's a team moving everything in as we speak. Turner's at work, so he has no idea what's going on." "So how do you want to make contact?" "I say we just go over to his apartment and beat the information out of him." "And what if he's not actually involved in anything?" Parker said. "Then we'll know," Cole replied, unconcerned. "Why do you seem to like hurting people so much?" "Just part of my DNA, I guess. This coming from a girl who's rumored to have over 80 confirmed kills over the last 6 years. I do what has to be done, but I don't enjoy it." "I guess that's what separates us. I love it," Cole happily told her. "I can tell." "So you have a better idea?" Cole said. "Why don't I just introduce myself as a new neighbor and gain his trust? I can get into his apartment and access his computer." "I guess if you want to do it the hard way,